Welcome back to the Realty Rundown, where the Nic Wyse team is bringing you wise replies. I'm Nic Wyse with the Nic Wyse team at Remax Results, and with me as always is my co-host and favorite teammate, Nathan Schwartz. Nate, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm tired, but I'm good. Doing good. Looking forward to digging into what 2025 might have for us in the housing market.
That's right. Why are you tired? I know you were working pretty late last night.
I worked until 9:30 last night, like showing a couple houses. So by the time I got home, I was dead. I still had to make dinner when I got home. Joanna was in bed. I was like, all right, I'll do this. I'll crank it out. But I was like, I'm tired.
And then I know you get up early in the morning and go to the gym no matter what.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I was up at like 6 o'clock this morning again. So, but
go.
It's all good. I love it. So
the glorious life of a real estate agent.
That's
like,
right.
Yeah, this is all the behind the scenes stuff nobody thinks about. Is like we get home at 9:30 and it's impossible to just turn it off. Right? You're still up, still thinking about everything. So
yeah, I should clarify for the audience. My wife is not a bad wife. She does make me dinner usually. She had to get up early as well, so she went to bed early.
She's an amazing wife. I will attest to her as well. She's a good gal. Well, before we get into full gear with the what we're going to be talking about this week, which is kind of the outlook, a little bit of the economic outlook, and certainly the housing outlook for 2025, at least our second half year of 2025 and headed into 2026. Those numbers still, I don't understand how it's 2025 because I'm just that old. I'm like 2025, it's the future, But anyway, I do want to give a quick shout out to a couple of new listings that I just picked up that I think are really great properties. One in particular, Shivano Peak. So it's 13562, and I've got an image I'm going to throw up here on the screen. So that is 13562 Shivano Peak Drive in Middlebury, Indiana. It's in the Summit, maybe the most prestigious neighborhood or one of the most sought after neighborhoods in Middlebury School District. This home just chopped the price $50,000. We are down to $649,900 on this home, which I honestly think is a great value for it. Basically, you're getting a 5-bed, 4-bath home with a double wide lot, huge lot, and over 4,200 square foot of finished space, including some of the basement, which is finished. There's still a ton of unfinished space in the basement too that you can finish out, or if you want it for storage, like the current owner's using it, you got it. Like I said, a huge price drop. That one's starting to get a lot of attention. So I'm hoping that we can find the proper buyer for that. Somebody that loves that home as much as the original owners did. They are the original owners, but they've done a lot of updates too. It's beautiful. So ask us more questions on that one. Nate, you've seen that one, I know, and I think you felt the same way.
Yep.
Very nice home. And then we just listed this week as well, 57839 County Road 29. Let me get that image up real quick here. Boom. So yeah, this is a 4-bed, 2.5-bath home. It sits on 1.5 acres. And again, it's in the countryside. So there's a lot you can do here. It's actually got a in-ground pool, a nice full in-ground pool. And it's got another fenced area where they've got their pups, but that would be great. Obviously, if you have kids, you don't want them wandering off, all over the acreage. There's a little bit of woods in the back, which is cool. I don't know, maybe there's morel mushrooms out there in the spring. You'll have to find out for yourself. But, that one is priced at $449,000. Again, it's in Middlebury Schools out on County Road 29. If you're going on 20 and you turn south on 29, it'll be on your right-hand side about maybe a mile down or so. So it's 57839 County Road 29. And I won't talk about it real lengthy, but we do have another one coming up in Fairfield Schools. I think that one's going to be going up at $435,000. Beautiful house built by Schrock Homes. It's only a few years old. Seller is moving because of life circumstances. And now the home is going to be available to a new buyer. They did just put on recently a 3rd stall attached garage. Well, it already had a 2-car, and now they've added an oversized 3rd stall. He's got a big old truck, and he wanted to make sure his truck fit in there. So that is a very, very nice home too. 3-bed, 2-bath, unfinished basement. It does have pre-plumbing down there for another bathroom.
Nice.
And it's got an egress window for another bedroom too. So Nate, I can't wait for you to see that one. That's a beautiful one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for today's show. No, I'm sorry. I knew I was going to talk too long. Shut up, Nick. Oh man, I just can't help myself. No, let's jump in. So we're going to talk about the rates, right? So the Fed just met this past week. I think we're all sitting there like, come on, let's get these rates down. Well, guys, as you'll see on the chart, they really didn't come down. In fact, the Fed did not adjust the prime at all. So we're still seeing that prime in the 4.25, 4.5 range, which means the rate for actual borrowers is more in the 7% range, sometimes trickling down to like a 6.95. And why are they doing this? Why is the Fed so resistant to lower rates? In large part, it's because our economic data continues to come in strong. The labor market is still really good. Consumer spending is still really strong. And what that means is if they lower rates too much and really induce a bunch of spending, inflation can tick up.
Yeah. So Nick, with inflation still above target and economic activity holding up, what does that mean for mortgage rates?
Yeah, it basically means they're probably going to keep them higher than we'd hope. According to Freddie Mac, the 30-year average mortgage rate now, and this is the average, is 6.95. Obviously, people are coming in a little bit on either side of that. But until inflation drops to that magical Fed mark of 2.0%, we're probably not going to see any mortgage relief in the rates. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they've pretty much put their stake in the ground at this point. They're like 2.0. If we don't see 2.0, we're not doing it. Little frustrating to me, but at the same time, I get it. I don't think we need to recreate a situation like we've had in the last few years where it was bonkers buying and very difficult to get people into a house because they were selling too fast. So I think, if you look at the Fed's own projections, they're still calling for 2 possible rate cuts later in the year. But I think fewer and fewer policymakers believe that it's any kind of a guarantee that it might happen. So, now a lot of the policymakers that we kind of adhere to and listen to are predicting no rate cuts at all in 2025.
Yeah. So basically, don't hold your breath.
Exactly.
So let's zoom into the local market. What's happening here in Elkhart County?
Yeah, so the graph up on the screen is Indiana's housing overall, and I put that up there because I actually found out recently we do have some people that listen to us that are not right here in our local market, and so I thought they might find that handy. And the Elkhart County market, the stats that I have that I pull from, the charting that we use for it is not beautiful like this Indiana Association of Realtors image right here, so I'm going to let you guys look at that while I talk about Elkhart County a little bit. But our main numbers are in. Obviously, we're most of the way through June already, but we are always compiling data and then putting it together about a month behind. But the main numbers are in. Closed sales were actually down a little bit, not a little bit, but 10% year over year. Meanwhile, the median sales price is still going up. Meanwhile, inventory is increasing. So it's a lot of interesting dynamics. The closed sales, I think, are down in part because, while inventory is up, it's still a little low. And overall, there was kind of a little blip in there. And I know, Nate, for our team, how was your May?
It's like a month of nothing.
Yeah. It was wild times. Nate was sitting there like, give me something to do. And meanwhile, I'm out there like listing homes left and right. And now here in June, it'll be very, very interesting to see what those numbers come back at for June, because I think we can both agree that the market has certainly picked back up again.
Yes, it has. Absolutely.
Yep. And again, median prices are going up. We have an example where Nate and I are dual agents on a property in Middlebury, where it was just purchased about a year ago. Those 4 folks were unfortunately forced to sell the home, but they're able to get quite a bit more than what they bought it for. Certainly enough to cover their closing costs and their costs of selling the home, and then have a little bit on top of it too. And that's just a home that's been on there for 1 year. So while the median sales price, is up 4.9% in Elkhart County, in some areas it's up even more than that. Indiana overall is just 2%, but Elkhart County, and especially Middlebury, Fairfield, some of these school district driven areas are up even stronger. So still seeing some pretty significant increases. The other number that we really track pretty closely is the average days on market. So that actually ticked up a little bit again. We just see it keep doing these little tick ups. It's certainly not big waves that are like, the sky is falling. It's just like one day every month that ticks up or something like that. So now we're sitting at 32 days on the market. Nate, as you know, typically in an average market where it's balanced between buyers and sellers, it's about double that. It's about 60 days on market. So that's, again, how long does it take if we don't list another home for sale in the next X amount of days? How long is it going to take to sell all those homes? Right now, 32 days. We would run out of inventory if nobody else lists their home. So long and short of it is, while inventory is climbing, we're still well below a balanced market territory. Demand is still pushing prices upward. So, and I don't think that's going to change. Nate, I know you've got a pretty good number of buyers you're looking for and have been, in some cases, looking for homes for a long time for them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, I guess with rates too, I guess, were you going to mention that?
Yeah, well, I was going to, I do want to flip it over to you a little bit and let you talk about what's going on with your buyers a little bit. But with these 7% rates and prices still rising, what are you hearing? You're on the street. What are you hearing from buyers?
So I'd say, for the most part, kind of mixed. At first, it was like people were like, "Whoa, we're just going to hang out until the rates come back down to 3%," which I'm like, "You're going to be waiting for the rest of your life for that." But I'd say more of mixed reviews on that. Some buyers are like, "Screw it, this is what it's going to be. We're just going to go buy what we want. Others are like, let's hang tight for a little bit longer and see what happens. So I'd say it's more mixed on what buyers are feeling about it. It's definitely one of those things to where buy the house when you're ready and when it makes sense to you, when you can afford it, because you may not save as much as you think here in the future when rates come back down. There's going to be more competition. So
nope, for sure. And I know you had something else you wanted to talk about, but I did throw this image up on the screen because I do hear this sometimes from people, and you maybe are hearing it too. Well, we want to wait until the market pulls back, and I'm showing an image right now about mortgages in serious delinquency status. You'll see all of them, which is the blue, versus FHA, which are typically a little bit riskier borrowers.
Yep.
They're obviously really low. That is a 25-year chart. They're basically as low as they've been in 25 years. So if you're sitting there waiting for that magical foreclosure market to reappear and for home prices to go down, not looking very likely.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Nate, did you have something? I think you had. I know you had a note in there about talking about some of the receivables.
Yeah. So with assumable mortgages becoming a bigger trend, buyers can sometimes inherit lower rates from sellers, again, like VA and FHA loans. So if you want more information about that, we did discuss it in the episode 18 of assumable mortgages, which you can find that on our Realty Rundown YouTube channel. So I would highly recommend checking that out.
Yeah, we're posting all of our past episodes as well on our YouTube channel. So if you're just in a bingey mood and you just can't get enough of me and Nate's faces, you just want to go watch us for about 10 hours straight, go on our YouTube channel, get your fill. It's out there. If you need a link, I'll try and post one, or certainly you can always reach out to us and ask. Before we move on, I did want to show this image because I just love this image and I think it's so telling, and it's what I try and get people to really, really understand, because I want everybody to own a home, because I want everybody to have something for the future. So we're not all wards of the state when we go to retire, and we're just dependent on our monthly, Social Security payments from the state. I want people to have something of their own. So the median net worth between owners and renters, I mean, you almost don't even see the renter's number on there, which is in red, because it is so drastically different than the net worth when you own a home. And look how much it's increased in just 6 years. Obviously most of that is because home prices are going up. So the equity that people have is just boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Not only are you making your payments every month and you're putting your payments directly into this giant savings account called a home, with your principal being paid off, but when the value of your home continues to go up, that's, I don't want to call it free money, but what else do you say? That's just money that is being put into this invisible savings account that when you are ready to sell, it's going to be there for you, either to buy your next home or eventually to downsize and retire and turn that into cash or other investments. So that chart just says so much to me. It's like, just look at it, like stop renting as soon as you can, as soon as you can afford to buy a home, please do so. Our next segment, just talk really quick and hit some more inventory stuff that we didn't touch on yet. So just going back to inventory, that it is increasing, but not really fast enough. According to the National Association of Realtors, we're still facing a housing shortage of about 4 million homes. And I've got a chart for that. I'm all about the charts today, Nate.
Hey, but I'm fine with it.
I like numbers. I like charts. Super nerdy.
Same here. I'm a numbers nerd. Throw a spreadsheet in front of me, so you give me business for hours.
It works. But yeah, this kind of shows new homes in the red and then versus existing homes in the blue. Obviously, you can see new homes inventory is increasing pretty rapidly. Interestingly enough, but this is talking more about the inventory. So how many months to exhaust the current inventory at current sales pace? So it's not just so much about what's being built right now. It's I hate to say it, but due to tariffs, labor shortages, materials costs, all these other things, the new home construction, they're continuing to build homes, but they're not selling as quickly as what we're seeing right now. They're sitting a little longer. They're taking a little longer. And a big part of that is because of the price of that new home. That's always the balancing act. And as you can see, it switches all the time. It goes back and forth. When the existing homes are going up too fast, new homes become more appetizing, right? And when the cost to build a new home is astronomical, like it is right now, the existing homes become more appetizing. Like, hey, let's just get a home right now and we'll fix it up over time, kind of a thing. So it's an ebb and a flow. But right now, the existing home inventory is really showing that that's rebounding much better. Sellers kind of are coming off the sidelines. Affordability obviously remains our top challenge for that, but we are continuing to put more homes on the market as people kind of get used to and digest these interest rates.
Yeah, for sure. So Nick, what's your overall forecast for the rest of 2025?
Yeah. And I have a chart for that.
I love it.
So, yeah, as we see here, obviously, we do predict that rates are going to stay higher for longer. That's not the news everybody wants to hear. I am a mixed bag on that because I want what's best for everybody. So, the bleeding heart of me is like, lower the rates so more people can get into homes and buy bigger, better, beautiful homes. Oh, man, I totally didn't mean to do the big, beautiful thing. Moving on. Pay no attention to the bill behind the curtain. But yeah, so I do think rates are going to stay higher longer unless there's some kind of a major economic shift, which, again, probably isn't going to be a good thing. If we do see rates go down, especially go down too fast, it's because there's some wobbly stuff out there. Obviously, there's been some fear of conflicts in the Middle East and how that's going to affect us. Are we going to get involved? Are we going to escalate things over there? I know I hope not. But at the same time, if we do, that can cause some pretty major shifts as well. And then inventory probably going to continue this slow recovery. Like I said, it's like increasing 1 day per month as far as average home or average days on market. And we probably aren't going to see that balance out here in 2025. I just don't think we have the metrics for it. That's probably going to be further down the road. I doubt it's even going to be 2026 before we see that truly balanced market where buyers have a little more control and sellers aren't, able to kind of make the terms as much as they'd like. So tit for tat, good for one, not as good for the other. Prices look most likely going to remain stable as far as stable in their growth. So expecting moderate growth, as you saw in Indiana, 2% here in Elkhart County, more closer to 5%, and then some areas still at 6-7%. Again, like Middlebury, South Goshen, some areas. Jimtown continues to be really, really strong. So it largely seems to be school district driven. But just getting to the chart that's on the screen right now, obviously existing home sales are predicted to continue to rise. And these are put out by the National Association of Realtors. I didn't make this chart. This was Lawrence Yun, who is a brilliant economic strategist and my favorite guy to follow when it comes to housing markets. So if you're out there, Lawrence is Lawrence, and then Yun is YUN. If you want to search him up and follow him on social media, he's a great guy to listen to. New home sales, as you see on here, trending down. Again, we think that that's probably going to continue because it's hard to envision that cost of materials are going to go down. Like, again, that can change almost any day if the tariff war ends, right? If there's some easing of that. But right now we don't have any signs that it's going to end. And the median home price, is actually expected to go up, not just here locally, but in the national numbers. Mortgage rates, as you see on there, that's kind of the rate that people are getting mortgages. That's down. We should probably have another loan originator come on the show and talk about that. Maybe we'll do that for a future show so we can get a little more in depth with that. And then jobs gains, obviously tremendous jobs gains. I think that has surprised a lot of people how we continued to have really strong labor numbers. So long and short kind of that section, it's not really the wild market of 2021 anymore. You still need good local knowledge. You still need good negotiation. Actually, probably now more than ever, now that it is a little more balanced. Make sure you're getting an agent. We'd love to work for you, but if you're, inclined to work with somebody else, please do. Don't try and go this yourself. I had a call this morning from some past clients who, very short version of this, they're in some trouble because they tried to do everything themselves and it's not going real well. So now I'm stepping in. Part of this is in Michigan. So my colleague up there, David Lamb, who's an amazing Michigan agent, he's helping out on the Michigan side of it, but it's a web, it's a ball, and we're going to have to help them unravel it. And it was unnecessary. They just needed better terms and we could have avoided everything. So please call your agent, please call a realtor. That's what we're here for.
Yep, absolutely. So again, whether you're buying, selling, or investing, it's important to work with a team that knows both the numbers and the nuances, and that's why we're here.
We're all about the nuances here. I love some nuances, but yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for letting us go a little long on this episode, almost 20 minutes here. So I got to wrap it up in 20 seconds and we'll go over that. But if you got questions, please do reach out to us here at the Nic Wyse team. Nick knows we'll get you wise replies to all your real estate questions. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks, guys.